Welcome back to another R&DW Adventures. I'm Darryl.
And I'm Renee.
And we're here today to kick off the Memory Lane promotion, which actually started at the beginning of June, but runs through the end of the year, actually into next year. It wraps up on January 3rd, thanks to COVID-19. But every year there is some kind of summer promotion from geocaching.com, and this is their promotion for this year.
It's a lot of fun. I haven't been to a big promotion yet. I mean, like 10 years ago, there was the 10-year. We were supposed to have the 20 years of geocaching this year, but Memory Lane is still going to be a lot of fun, even though I don't get to see the original stash.
Well, and the Memory Lane promotion gives you the same kind of valueless prizes that you get with most of these. They're the digital souvenirs. They're just fuel for cool your profile. They're good if you have the challenge caches that count the number of souvenirs. So there are some reasons to do these. This one gives us 5. The first one is at 10 points, which gives us the original cache or the first geocache. Second one is at 50 points for the first geocoin. At 100 points, we get the first mega event. At 150 points, we get the first million geocaches. Then at 200 points, we get our final souvenir for the 20-year celebration. So the way this works is we only need 2 finds to hit that first one, because one found log is worth 5 points. Now, if you find a multi-cache, that's worth 7 points, or if there's 10 points or 10 favorite points on a cache or more, then it's worth 10 points. So you could find this first one with just 1 cache. We're out here to find 2 caches. And this is also where I found my first cache, is about 150 feet that way. So we thought this would be appropriate to come back and talk about our memories of our first geocache finds. We've got the reflecting head, which was the name of my first geocache, which was way that way. You couldn't see the reflecting head. And this landscape has totally changed since then as well, because it was 15 years ago. My first find was August of 2005. And that one, it took me multiple visits to find it. And it was a really kind of lame cache that I think had actually been destroyed, and the bag that was inside the container was still there. Oh. So when I found it, it was literally a Ziploc bag at the base of a tree. So not a good cache. It took me a couple times. I almost got stung by a yellow jacket the first time when I went in with sandals, not realizing how bad the terrain was.
Yikes.
But it was with a GPSR. I could not make the GPSR go to the waypoint that I had put in. So I knew how to do that. I put the waypoint in, which you had to hand enter, and I couldn't make it go. I finally figured it out long afterward, but when I was standing there, I'm going back and forth looking at the coordinates on the screen, a couple steps to the left, couple steps to the right, trying to get the numbers to match. It was insane. I was so bad at geocaching that first time, but it was why I was going out geocaching as well, was to get better with a GPSR.
And it was your log also made sure to help other people not get hurt or get confused.
It did that as well. But the interesting thing with a log was I put the actual chords in the log with my accuracy.
Who does that?
No one does that anymore. But at the time, every single log I had looked at, I shouldn't say every single log, but most of the logs I looked at had, here's where I found the cache with my accuracy. No one does that anymore. It's insane.
When he read, like, my first cache was 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And last night you were reading through your first log and my first log. So yours was very detailed with the chords and talking about the yellow jackets and everything. And mine was like, thank you for my first find, or it was something that was really short. And
yeah, with your guide, Darryl W4.
Yeah, with my guide, Darryl W4, because I had no idea what I was doing. But I didn't know what to write. I didn't even know what to name myself back then, because we got in touch for the first time in a very long time, right?
Yep.
And Darryl's like, well, you need to have a name so you can go geocaching. And I'm like, well, what's your name? And it was like, he's like, well, I'm Darryl W4. And I'm like, okay, so everyone names themselves like their name. And so the good thing is, now that I've even changed my last name, my initials stayed the same, so I'm still Renee W25. But now I'm like, wow, I could have really come up with a better name. But my first day geocaching, we went out, we found it. Well, no, we didn't find it.
Well, no, we found your first one.
We found the first one.
But the first attempt was not found.
The first attempt was not found. We'll talk about that later, because that was avenged with a really nice story.
But you were just getting out of the cast.
I was just getting out of cast. I had a broken leg. I'm like, he's like, what? This is flat ground, and we can just go find it in the bushes at a park really close to my house at the time.
With the dog.
With the dog. So, you know, Darryl had to pass the dog test. So, actually, we went caching that first day, and we've seen each other every day since then.
Almost
every day.
But we've seen each other every day by FaceTime.
This is true.
Because I did have a couple of trips that you couldn't go on because they were work trips to San Francisco.
Right.
And you had a trip, maybe two,
there was something
out to Florida to visit family.
Right.
That I couldn't go on because you were off school and I had to work.
Very true.
So there's our first memories of our first geocaches. Let us know what your first geocaching memories are, and put that in the comments below, because we'd really like to see everything that you guys have to share, and maybe we'll include those in some of our future videos as well, because it really is fascinating, especially depending on when people got into the sport.
And how.
But today, we got to find 2 caches, that's it, so we're off to find those 2. Maybe we'll throw a little bit in here, but make sure to hit subscribe, and check out our other geocaching videos.
Or other videos.
Our other videos, yeah. We got a lot of videos on the channel, and you can find our videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.